Would you like to be paid to be you? Just truly you and yourself. If that is you, please stick around for this episode. It is going to be awesome to hear. So, for those of you that know me, I'm Leslie Urbis. I'm a registered dietitian and a personal trainer who is ditching the selfless overachiever that I used to be and fully, wholly embracing myself, as I like to say. And here today, we're going to talk about that from a really awesome perspective. So I'd like to first welcome Pixie to the show. How are you today?
I'm
Oh, it muted you.
I'm doing fantastic. Thank you so much for
Good.
having me.
Of course, yeah. See, that's okay. We don't mind when there's mutes in our show. We like it. That's authenticity, right? And that's really what we're here to talk about. So prior to this, we were talking about how you achieve being your true self, right? It's actually really complicated sometimes if you think about it, because the you that I definitely was in 2020 when I started my business is not the you that I am today, right? But I remember always growing up with the thought process of first, I need to have this so I can do this, so I can go be this, right? And I've heard said from multiple coaches that you have to actually reverse the equation and start with who you want to be, become that person before you can have the rest. But to me, that really threw me, right? It threw me in the beginning. Like, what does that even mean? And I understand you have a pretty cool take on it. So I'd love to hear what you have to say.
Absolutely. So I heard that too. When I first started business, I was constantly hearing, you have to get out of your own way. You have to step into being the version of you. You have to become the person that already has the success, has the money, has the impact. And for the longest time, I had no idea how to actually do that. And I think a lot of people, they don't know how to really be the version of themselves that has the thing. And so, if you are listening to this and you have done the meditations and invested in the courses and hired mentor after mentor and have tried to be the successful version of you and have not arrived there yet, I really want to help you put this into a different perspective today. So, part of my favorite thing to do in business is helping people to really fully connect in with their identity and to create what I like to call profitable self-expression. It is the ability to get paid to be you. And with the message of just be, the missing factor in this for so many people is that we are not doing the things that are perpetuating the being. And so, as a messaging expert, as somebody who helps people to make a lot of money with social media and content, I have noticed one thing that consistently happens with so many people is that we will do something because we are already in the identity and energy of this is not working. So if you are showing up and you are creating content, for example, out of the energy of I'm creating more content because the content I've been creating isn't working. And if I create more, maybe my clients and the people who I want to hire me will see it. And then I will get paid and then I will be successful. But the problem with that is in the context of creating content from that perspective, you are already saying, I am not successful. And we do not notice the moments where our context for success is one that is reinforcing the identity of, I'm not successful. This is not working. And so I once heard a mentor say, and I loved this because it is so true, and it put into words something I had already known, but had not quite formulated into my own words. And it was that when we launch something, we are not launching to convince an audience of dream clients to invest in us. We are launching to convince ourselves that they will. And so I want you to imagine the most successful version of you. And I want you to really think about if you were the most successful version of you, What would doing anything that you do actually look like? And this is where we start to step into the embodiment in a more physical presence and a more understanding space. And we get to set the context of what does this mean? So the most successful version of you, how do they show up? How do they do things? How do they even fix their posture? Now, you might be standing or sitting listening to this right now, and I want you to really check in with yourself and check in with your posture and check in with your body. Are you sitting upright? Are you slouching? Are you in an uncomfortable position? What are you doing? In this moment, how would the version of you that's successful carry herself? Now, I want you to think about whatever you're going to do after this. And when you walk into that next space, whether you are walking into the grocery store or picking up your kids from school or going to the gym, I want you to walk, just walk the way that you think you would walk if you were that person. And so when we start to connect the body, which is why I absolutely love having this podcast for this message, because it is all about health and body and connection. When we start to connect the body to the being and we start to connect the actions to the being in even the simplest context of posture, it becomes so much easier to recognize what we are doing and if it is a yes to that next level identity. Getting paid to be you and really stepping into that being doesn't start with envisioning, it starts with doing. And our body is the vessel that is the perfect way for us to really do so that we can be. So, starting with posture and the way that we walk, the way that we sit, the way that we carry ourselves, and going into the way that we think and the way that we feel and the way that we act really transforms the way that we show up. Because for so many people, when we imagine ourselves in that future, it can be so difficult to try to make that big leap and say, okay, how am I going to do this? How am I going to be a version of me that I've never been before? But every single person listening on this call, you know that there is one area of your life right now that you have been settling that future version of yourself would not settle. That future version of you would do something about it. Whether that is tidying up that corner of your house that you keep on saying, I'll get to it tomorrow or next week. Whether it is going on that walk that you've been telling yourself, I'm going to go on a walk. Whether it is taking yourself out on a date night. There's one area of your life that you know that if you shifted, it might seem like a small shift, but it would make a difference. And so this is how I began to really step into my journey and really step into a space where it became a lot easier to be the version of myself that was a lot more successful. It changed the way I was seeing it, and it changed the things that I was doing, and it adjusted the context and the energy behind what you're doing.
That's amazing. And I would completely agree with you on the body piece. What's funny is that it sounds ridiculous when I say it out loud, so I'm going to sound pretty funny here, but there are moments in my day when I'm doing something simple, like washing a dish or something like that. And I'm like, if somebody were spying on me, would this be representative of who I am in my head already, right? Because I've been, like you said, I envision, I do those things and stuff like that. But it comes to my mind and I'm like, am I the only one here that's kind of thinking like in that way? So it really resonated with me because I hear and I feel that, right? I hear and I feel that because of that. And I fully want to represent the true person that I am. And then I always was, but that potentially I was afraid of truthfully being, right? So I love this. I think this is fabulous. And obviously, you kind of start here to help the person really come across as who they really are in their messages, it sounds like.
Yes, absolutely. So it starts with the identity shift and then it goes into the messaging. So one of the things I really say pretty often is that messaging is not just the content that you're writing, and it's not just what your business believes in, and it's not just what you're trying to sell your audience. It was really the message that you're constantly putting out as you are being. And so the other day, I had posted something that was discussing how when you are doing anything, you are sending a message out into the world. So if you wake up in the morning, your alarm goes off, and you hit snooze, the message that it's sending if you hit snooze could be, it's not important for me to honor my commitment to myself and to honor my time. And I'm just going to go back to bed because I don't value my time. Or it could be, even though I should wake up because that's what is going to make me look productive, if I'm being honest with myself, my body needs more rest. And it is more important to me to give my body what it needs than to follow an arbitrary should and wake up on time, even though I know getting more rest would be more important. And so the message that you're sending to yourself when you do anything puts a message out into the world. And that message into the world gives you back what you put out. And so this is why it's not just about what you do. It is so much more about who you be when you do it. I'm sure everyone listening has somebody that they can think of in their life that at some point might have looked like they were doing something nice, but did not make you feel like they were being very nice about it, because the context in which they did the nice thing was not actually a nice and pleasant context. And so some of us might be thinking about our moms, mother-in-laws, some ex-friends, somebody that we're like, yeah, definitely I can see that person that does the quote unquote nice things, but they are not pleasant in their doing of those things. And so when we do something, whatever it is, we are sending out a message, and the way that we do it is who we are being, and who we are being is delivering us back the desires that we have. And so whenever anything doesn't look exactly the way that you would like it to look in your life that you are in control of, you have to ask yourself, well, who have I been being to get this kind of result? What has my context been? And in the actions I've been taking that I think I should be taking, where have I really been showing up? And when you do that, so often you are able to really find what areas need to be polished and cleaned up. And it is not something that needs to take a long time to polish or to clean up. Very often we know the quick fixes that will make a difference. We know how to shift to the context. And so I would really implore everyone on here to set a new context for yourself. Say, I am being the woman, or maybe there's some men listening here, who is going to do things differently, who's going to live a life where I am prioritizing health, or I'm prioritizing happiness, or I'm prioritizing joy, or I'm prioritizing experience. Whatever is really in alignment with that version of you that you hope to arrive to one day. And so for me, I prioritize being understanding. I prioritize being kind and compassionate and caring. I prioritize being somebody that makes other people feel like they are understood and seen and connected. And that is my priority in everything that I do and everything that I share. And so that goes beyond just getting paid to be me. It goes into being valued to be me. And getting paid is just a side effect of that in my world.
I love it. I think it's fabulous. And everybody should go at least follow you or find you or tell them where they can do those things.
Absolutely. So I am always available on Facebook. So if you are listening to this and you loved it and you want to come and hang out in my world, you can find me at Facebook. So if you go to facebook.com/Simply Pixie Grace, you will find me on Facebook hanging out. You can come and say hi and message me and really let me know that you liked this. I am constantly posting content on Facebook and showing up. It is the one place that I practically live on. So if you have any questions for me, I am always there. It has been such a joy to have this small conversation about this big topic.
Yeah, of course. I loved having you as a guest. Everybody go check her out. I obviously follow her on Facebook already, but that's where we are. And of course, like, share, and subscribe to this channel. And bye for now. We will see you guys on the next episode.